Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Theo Mann Rewrites, where we take stories from popular culture and we pull them to pieces and we decide what didn't work and we rewrite them to make the story better. Today we are rewriting the Harry Potter series. I've written multiple blog posts about this. You can read it all about it on my blog. So the first thing we're going to look at is all of the things that don't belong in a book. If you look at the first chapter of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the very first book in the entire series, the first chapter of the first book does not belong there. You could easily cut this chapter, get rid of it entirely. It wouldn't change the story at all. I've written an entire blog post about this. If something can be cut from your story, it has to be cut because it's not essential to the plot. It's superfluous and it just takes up time, disrespects the reader, serves no logical purpose to the story at all. All of the information that we got from the very first chapter of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone could have been added to different parts of the book. The vast majority of it could have been included in Hagrid's conversation with Harry on the island when they first met, where Hagrid could explain everything that happened the day that Voldemort attacked Harry. None of that needed to be included in the first chapter. I would also combine the second chapter with the chapter where Harry receives his Hogwarts letter. It might actually have been a little bit of poetic justice if Harry and Dudley had the same birthday and everything that happened on Dudley's birthday happened the exact same day that Harry got his Hogwarts letter. And then you could have compressed all of that into one chapter. It would have worked just as well. And the whole book could have started the morning of Dudley's birthday. We see exactly the same problem at the beginning of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, where there are two chapters that could be cut. The first chapter, where the Muggle Prime Minister meets with the Ministry of Magic, and we learn about everything that's happening in the war between the Death Eaters and all of the good guys in the wizarding world who are trying to stop Voldemort's campaign of terror. All of that information could have been included in Chapter 3 when Dumbledore comes to collect Harry from the Dursleys. We didn't need an entire chapter dedicated to two whole characters we know and care nothing about. They did not belong in that book. They did not belong in the series. The second chapter, where Snape has his confrontation with Bellatrix Lestrange and Narcissa Malfoy at Spinner's End, also totally unnecessary to the plot, completely spoils the mystery that we find out that Draco Malfoy was involved with the Death Eaters and possibly, on a mission for them at Hogwarts. Didn't need to find that out until far, far later in the book. Everything that happened in that chapter was completely unnecessary and spoils the mystery. And this is a rookie maneuver from an author who had never written anything before. And possibly, there is the possibility that the publishers told her to add these chapters, but either way, it's an incredibly bad idea. If an entire chapter adds absolutely nothing to the plot, and all of the relevant information of that chapter could be included somewhere else, and the story still works, those chapters don't belong in your book. And most of us already know, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is far shorter than it should have been. The original draft was much longer, and the publishers made the author cut it down to a certain word count. So that first chapter is just wasted word count that could have been included somewhere else with actual plot. So that's the first problem that we need to get rid of, and this is a major structural problem that happens at the outline phase. If something if it doesn't belong in your book, get rid of it. It's serving no useful purpose at all. And the second thing we need to look at is such a common problem in the publishing world right now. It's almost like it's become a requirement, and it's so stupid, is when characters make boneheaded, idiotic decisions that don't serve any purpose except to make the character look bad. And we see Harry doing this more and more often as the series goes along. Like the author doesn't understand how to make a character heroic and relatable without him doing moronic things. And the thing that I'm mostly thinking about is the Battle of Department of Mysteries in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which was totally an idiotic thing to do. And much smarter, more level-headed people were telling him this is a terrible idea, and he still did it and dragged all of his friends along, and it had catastrophic consequences. And everything that was accomplished in that battle could have been accomplished somewhere else without him making that decision. He could have gone along with Hermione's suggestion that this was all a trap set up by Voldemort to trick him, and he could have not gone to the Department of Mysteries, and Voldemort could have attacked Harry somewhere else and had exactly the same outcome without him coming across as being a completely bullheaded, arrogant, stupid teenage prick, which is exactly what happened. And going back to, I'm going to concentrate mostly on the fifth book, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, because I think the author made the most mistakes in that book. The decision for everyone in the entire story to turn against Harry and to think he's crazy and to doubt his word and to, think he made it all up or whatever is completely unnecessary. The story works perfectly well if we don't have that. There could be other people in other parts of the wizarding world who did doubt his word that Voldemort was coming back, not his friends, not his classmates, not everyone at Hogwarts. That just made absolutely no sense at all. And going back to the same question of Dumbledore cutting Harry off, not even speaking to him or looking at him for the entire year, totally unnecessary to the plot. It would have worked just as well if Dumbledore had been in consultation with Harry all year long, if Dumbledore had been the one to teach him occlumency, or even if Dumbledore had explained to him at the beginning of the book, Voldemort is trying to use our relationship to get into your head and into my head. It's important for me to put some distance between us this year, so I won't be able to talk to you, and it might seem like I'm pulling away from you, but I'm only actually doing it to protect you. That conversation could have happened at the very beginning of the book, and the entire story still works. And this leads me to the end of the book, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, where I think the author made her biggest mistake. And this was in the death of Sirius Black. I think the author made a serious blunder with this character. I think there was anywhere near enough build-up toward Sirius's death. There was absolutely no setup, no character building, no relationship building between Sirius and Harry, not anywhere even close to what was needed to make Sirius's death mean anything. So if it was me, I would go back and I would change the ending of the third book, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Sirius Black doesn't have to go on the run. He gets exonerated. His name is cleared. He's free, and he's involved in everything that happens in the fourth book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. He's around, he's advising Harry, he's present, he's a vibrant, involved surrogate father figure. And Harry comes to depend on him so that they actually build a life together where they're looking forward to Harry leaving the Dursleys and going to live with Sirius instead. And then at the beginning of the 5th book, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, when Sirius gives Harry the magic mirror where they can talk to each other, he uses it immediately. And he's in communication with Sirius the entire year, talking to him, getting his advice, getting his support. Sirius is involved in his life. Sirius never has to hide. So that at the end of the book, when Sirius actually dies, it means something. We can understand why Harry is so broken up about Sirius's death, because it's the closest thing he's ever had to family, and now that's gone. But the way the series is currently, there's not enough for the audience to get invested in their relationship. So that's just a little snippet, some of my opinions about the Harry Potter series. I would love to hear your comments below about what you think the author did wrong, what could have been improved. I'm sure there's quite a bit more. And we can carry on this conversation either in a later video or in the comments section. Talk to you next week.